Guys, I'm really, really excited about today. I want to welcome you to this next in the series of these live streams that I'm doing. And I have a very special guest here today, Jon Schumacher, who is the president and founder of Billion Dollar Legacy. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see Jon online, but I actually have been connected with Jon for a while. And I have to tell you, of all of the people that I follow online, I am so incredibly impressed with Jon and the amount of value that he is constantly giving to others. You know, you see those influencers out there who share some stuff, but like keep all of their secrets and hacks to themselves. That's not Jon at all. Jon gives it all away. And I really love that about him. I am totally aligned with him in that way. So Jon, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Amber. I'm excited to be streaming on 20 different. I didn't even know there were 20 different because, I'm behind here. I used to do like Blab when that was a thing in Meerkat and like stream across all of those. I haven't been doing as many live streams lately, but this is exciting. Wow. I wonder where we're at. Like, who knows where we're even speaking
too. I'm just learning about all of them as well, but that's kind of the fun of it. For those of you who are just kind of tuning in, this live stream series is all about how to have a more significant launch. So whether you're launching a book or an event or a program, a digital course, you name it. And by now you've likely heard that Mike Michalowicz, who is the author of Profit First, invited me to be his book launch coordinator for his legacy book that launches May of 2020, published by Penguin Random House. It was a tremendous honor. And our goal is to sell 10,000 copies week one. Now, just think about that for a moment. Most authors in the lifetime of their book will sell 500 to 1,000 copies, and we're looking to sell 10,000 individual copies on week one. Now, in order to do that, you need to have a significant master launch plan, which we made. And on June 3rd and 4th, Mike Michalowicz, AJ Harper, and I are hosting a 2-day event in one of the coolest venues I've ever seen called Rock Lidditz. And it's at this event where we are actually giving you a tested launch plan that we have been slaving over for months now. It's yours. And then while we're at the event, we're going to do the work in the room so that you are building a bigger community and you are connected to influencers that can support your next launch. So whether you already have a book published or you're in the idea phase, or you're just a business owner who wants to have a significant launch, then you can check out authoruplive.com. And we have 44 days, guys, until the event. So you got to get your tickets now. The reason that I asked Jon to come on today is because Jon knows the world of marketing and connecting with influencers better than most by far. And so, Jon, I'm just going to kind of go right into it because I want to respect your time and everybody else's, of course. And my question is, so for these authors and business owners who are really uncomfortable with the idea of self-promoting, right? Or reaching out to influencers even to get support for their next launch. My question is, do you have any mindset hacks to kind of help them find the courage and the confidence to play a bigger game?
Yeah, I do. That's a good question. Magic hacks coming up. So lean in, everybody. I don't know if they're hacks, but I've promoted a couple of decent size events. We've had 8,000 people opt into a virtual summit and things like that, where we had like 20 partners and things like that involved. And I think the biggest thing for me, before I did that summit, I remember thinking, am I going to do this? I'm a little nervous to reach out to people, or it's a lot of work. And one of my favorite sayings whenever I get stuck on something mentally is this: it's what got me here won't get me there. Right. So what you've done to this point is not going to get you to the next level. And as you know, Amber, and as anybody who's been working in any kind of business or built anything online, you're not going to do that in a vacuum, right? You need to involve other people into your world, whether that's promotional partners, friendships, collaborations, mentors, whatever. You're not going to do it in a vacuum. So I get the insecurity there, or the nervousness. I grew up kind of an introverted kid a little more, and I still get a little butterfly about reaching out to people, but I've done it so much now where it's like, you know what? The worst thing they're going to do is ignore you or say no. They're not going to pull out a gun and shoot you or kill you. You're going to survive. So remember though, like you have to play a different game if you want to get to a different level. Yeah. And one of the fastest ways to do that, if not the fastest way that I know, is just to involve yourself and plug into people who already have your connections, your customers, the knowledge you need, whatever you're seeking.
Oh, you're so good at that. Really. You're very good at leverage, right? And so one of the things that I really have noticed specifically about you, Jon, is that you are really focused on consistently giving value, especially through podcasting and video marketing. And so can you speak a little bit about why podcasting and video marketing, how you're integrating that, why consistently, so that you're really marketing that message, you're connecting with influencers that may have been out of reach otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had a couple podcasts over the last 5 years. And I recently just started another one. I actually got away from it for a little while. So I was doing I was one of the first healthcare professionals, that's my background before marketing, to actually have like a live streaming video show every week. And this was like 5 years ago. No one was doing any of this stuff. So yes. So the main reason you want, like why a podcast works so well or something like that, is it gives you a reason to invite them into your world. Right. And so it gives you a reason to send that email or reach out to that influencer, or that maybe it's a peer, maybe it's someone who's a couple steps ahead of you. Maybe it's someone who's way ahead of you. Like you can bring a lot of those people. You'll be surprised that will give you their time if you have a reason, a give for them instead of just a direct ask. And having a podcast, like I do this with article invites. Like I've used articles like, hey, I'm doing an article with so-and-so and we'd like to involve you. That kind of thing is a great way to kind of work on your dream 100 for people that are familiar with that, to kind of continue to like bring in those dream clients and partners and relationships. It gives you a reason to reach out without just asking, hey, give me something or work with me. It gives you a reason to start building a relationship.
Thank you for saying all of that. Like, I really, really appreciate that. And for those of you who are more interested in this topic, definitely go and follow Jon on social media, look him up on his websites. He recently released one of his latest videos that's all about how to connect with influencers, and he speaks to this very thing. So if you want to go deeper, Jon, again, is like packed with value on every single video that he produces, which is really great.
Yeah.
Jon, one thing that's really important to Mike Michalowicz and AJ Harper and I, when we're doing this Author Up Live event, is trying to help people understand that what you do today really matters. And it's sort of like stacking bricks in a way toward building your legacy. And I feel like so many people out there are just like in this chaos of there's just so many things going on that they're not really focused on where they're headed. This idea of raising your impact and building your legacy. I know that that's not at all how you operate, though, because you help people to build a legacy. In fact, your brand is called $1 Billion Legacy. Can you speak to a little bit more about the importance of thinking about legacy and maybe some of the steps that you're taking your clients to get that legacy, in place?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the end, as human beings, we all want to leave the world a better place. We don't want to die with our music inside of us, so to speak. And that's a line I'll use with people I'm speaking to sometimes is, you have an important message, or you have this, yearning inside for something a little bit bigger. So, I like the saying, I'm going to Conscious Capitalism this next week, which is an event with a lot of business people and CEOs. And I'll probably butcher the quote, but it's something like this, like businesses don't exist just to make profits, just like human beings don't exist just to eat food. Businesses need profit to live, just like human beings need food to live, but we don't just exist to eat food, and it's like, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, so we need a higher purpose, right? Like, what is that legacy or that mission or that gift you want to leave behind when you're gone? And, I think every business owner, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're running a larger company, should be guided by a higher vision or higher purpose for what you're doing. It's sort of the set of the sail, right? If you don't have your sail set in the right direction, it's easy to get off track. And trust me, I've gotten off track and I still, have some of those things at times where I have to kind of pull myself back focused. But, it's easier to set the sail when you know where you want to go. And I think every human being really wants to make a difference because we're just wired that way. I think it's just a deep desire. If you remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? With a triangle at the bottom were your physiological needs, but at the top was a term called self-actualization, where, that's your biggest, most impactful self, right? And your gift. So think of Ray Dalio, for example. The guy's a billionaire, doesn't need to do anything, right? He could buy an island and go hang out somewhere. But he's created the book Principles. He's created a lot of video content and white papers and blog posts and stuff, so he can share his knowledge with the world. And I think more people should do that and are doing that more these days.
I had to stop myself from laughing when you brought up the hierarchy of needs, because that is like the cornerstone of Mike's book that he's in the middle of completing.
Didn't know that. I'm not a plant, I promise.
I know. It is just like the synergy is always so amazing. I love that. So, okay. So Jon, my last question for you. You have been involved in so many launches. So not just your own or for helping colleagues promote, their next launch, but as a consultant, right? In fact, that's how we started our working relationship. And I was engaging you in one of my launches because you've had an incredible track record of giving people amazing advice to help them have a more significant launch. So I have to ask you, when you look back on all of the clients that you've spoken to, there has to have been a couple of, strategies or ideas or hacks that you've shared with them that you were like, damn, that was a pretty good one that I just came up with. Can I put you on the spot? Does anything come to mind of some ideas or things that people can be doing to get more significant results with their launch in general?
Yeah, and I'm not a launch specialist per se. I have done a few launches myself and summits, and I have consulted on a few, and I know some of the top launch people in the world, and we talk about this stuff a fair amount. I think there's some fundamental things. I tend to be a fundamentalist, more of like the operations versus just looking for a hack or a tactic. I can share a couple tactics as well. But as far as fundamentals, like the biggest reasons launches fail is really very 101 stuff, right? Marketing 101. It's usually that there's a message to market mismatch, like for the offer. So there's not enough desire for the solution that you're putting out there. And that solution that you're putting out there isn't new or exciting or anything. It's just kind of more of what's already been promised into that market. So like that is like, we could talk for hours on that. But that's like,
I love that.
That's like the core problem of like any promotion or any offer or anything.
I agree.
and it's the truth, right? It's not sexy. And, beginners are like, yeah, give me the Facebook Live hack or whatever. Right? But like, I'm telling you, like, if you don't speak to your market, if you don't really dig in and do some research and give yourself enough runway and time, there's a good chance it could miss. I mean, I've promoted more things. I've launched more offers and things that have missed than have hit, really, honestly. So you just don't know sometimes until you put it out there.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's a big part of it. Another one is just not having a big enough audience to promote to. Like you obviously need an audience. Like if you want a 2% conversion rate on your broadest audience or something like that, you need a lot of people involved to make that 2%, 3% really get, to a point where it's significant for you. Yeah. So it depends on where you're at with things. Some people are going to launch like pilots or seed launches, do small launches, and be happy with a few people to get the ball rolling. Other people, like your client, are obviously more established and they are looking for a big hit, right? So they need to have a big enough runway, enough of a plan, enough of an audience, a launch team. If you're going to involve partners, there's a lot of pieces that go into these kind of mega launches. So
for sure,
those are some fundamental things. Like if you don't get right, you're kind of screwed, right? So
no, that's so true. And I love the message to market thing, piece of advice that you gave. So key. Sometimes we don't have enough experience to realize when somebody drops a huge value bomb like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I loved it how you said, well, give me the other stuff that I can do. Yeah, the market thing, but it's so important. And Jon, a lot of what you said here, I thought was huge value. And I wish, honestly, I just want to talk to you all afternoon. I promised you 10 minutes. We've already been over on that.
I better shut up then.
Guys, definitely, I want everybody listening to give a thank you to Jon for sharing his heart today and his expertise and his time, because it matters. And I really appreciate it, Jon. And be sure to let us know. I'm curious, what did you hear today that made the difference for you? What was a good reminder or something new that you hadn't heard before, or that you realized that you should be considering right now? So let us know in the comments below, and we will be watching that over the next day or two as people are engaged in the replay, of course. And hopefully, guys, by now you're kind of getting this sense that the days of just winging it, they're over. Like, you need a serious plan. You need to start giving yourself more time to execute that plan. Just in circling back to Jon and how consistent he is with his podcasting and his video marketing and, making connections. You have to be intentional about your launch and your business moving forward. I encourage you guys to go to authoruplive.com, get your tickets now. Let us give you a copy of the launch plan that we created so that you don't have to go through this brain damage of trying to do it yourself. And the event is in 44 days. And so we don't have any intention of doing this event again. So now is your one and only chance to make it work. Monday, we are back on live with Melody Jones at 12:15 Pacific. And we are going to be talking about some serious social media tips. So Jon, thank you again. You have my heart. And thank you everybody for your time and watching.